Hi, beautiful. Thank you for joining us today. We're reading the text, chapter 8, The Journey Back. And we are in section 9, Healing as Corrected Perception. And we'll read the first paragraph. I said before that the Holy Spirit is the answer. He is the answer to everything because he knows what the answer to everything is. The ego does not know. I'm going to pause here and say, if we could just accept this one principle, we'd be done with the course. But if you're anything like me, you have to hear it 1,000 times, 1,000 ways before it clicks. But it does say in the course, I don't remember exactly where, but I remember reading it and just having my mind blown. And it said, if you ever fully understood a single principle, a single teaching, all the errors in thinking, all the delusion, it would all be undone in an instant. The ego does not know what a real question is, although it asks an endless number. Yet you can learn this as you learn to question the value of the ego and thus establish your ability to evaluate its questions. When the ego tempts you to sickness, do not ask the Holy Spirit to heal the body, for this would merely be to accept the ego's belief that the body is the proper aim of healing. Ask rather that the Holy Spirit teach you the right perception of the body. For perception alone can be distorted. Only perception can be sick, because only perception can be wrong. Wrong perception is the wish that things be as they are not. I'm going to read that again. Wrong perception is the wish that things be as they are not. Wow. I'm going to pause and say, Spirit has been pointing out to me a lot lately, a lot, that the way out of hell is to love what is. And I'm like, but how can I love this? It's horrible. Spirit's like, you're reinforcing the nightmare. Wrong perception is the wish that things be as they are not. The reality of everything is totally harmless because total harmlessness is the condition of its reality. If it's not harmless, it's not real. If it's not love, it's not real. It is also the condition of your awareness of its reality. You do not have to seek reality. It will seek you and find you when you have met its conditions. When you meet its conditions are part of what it is. And this part only is up to you. The rest is of itself. So we don't need to make reality real. It's already real. We just need to get into a state of mind where we can actually be aware of reality. You need to do so little because your little part is so powerful that it will bring the whole to you. Accept then your little part and let the whole be yours. Wholeness heals because it is of the mind. All forms of sickness, even unto death, are physical expressions of the fear of awakening. Wow. They are attempts to reinforce sleeping out of fear of waking. This is a pathetic way of trying not to see by rendering the faculties for seeing ineffectual. Rest and peace is a blessing for the living, not the dead, because rest comes from waking, not from sleeping. Sleep is withdrawing, waking is joining. Dreams are illusions of joining because they reflect the ego's distorted notions about what joining is. Yet the Holy Spirit too has use for sleep and can use dreams on behalf of waking you if you will let him. So it says multiple times in the course that even mental devices that we made up that aren't real, the Holy Spirit can still use them on our behalf until we've woken up. Until we're ready to bridge the gap. In fact, we will never be able to bridge the gap. That's one of the beautiful blessings that we're given is if we're just willing, the Holy Spirit will bridge the gap for us. We don't have to do much. I love that it says our little part. Just our little tiny part. How you wake is the sign of how you have used sleep. To whom did you give it? Under which teacher did you place it? Whenever you wake dispiritedly, it was not given to the Holy Spirit. Wow, I'm going to pause here and say, I needed to hear that. Wow. Who are we giving our sleep to? I don't know about you, but when I fall asleep tonight, I'm going to make sure that I connect with love, with truth, with the core of my being before I go to sleep, with the full intent that my sleep is given to the Holy Spirit, not to nightmares. And also not beat myself up if I perceptually fail, because that just reinforces the delusion. I had a teacher once who told me, don't try, train. You wouldn't go out and try and run the Boston Marathon having never ran in your life. you would start training to run it, and you'd do a little better every day. You'd run a little further every day and get stronger every day. If you just get up one day and try, you're going to fail. But if you train, you will get there. If we train, we will get there. Only when you awaken joyously have you utilized sleep according to its purpose. You can indeed be drugged by sleep if you have misused it on behalf of sickness. Sleep is no more a form of death than death is a form of unconsciousness. Complete unconsciousness is impossible. You can rest in peace only because you are awake. Healing is released from the fear of waking. And the substitution of the decision to wake. The decision to wake is the reflection of the will to love, since all healing involves replacing fear with love. All healing involves replacing fear with love. And this includes self-love. It's interesting, I was actually watching a workshop today with Gabor Mate talking about trauma and how fear, basically all trauma is caused by some type of fear, gets stored in the body and is the root of all illness. This used to be considered just a radical teaching, and now it's becoming pretty widely spread in the medical community. I mean, he's a medical doctor, very well-respected, award-winning medical doctor who's worked at many prestigious clinics. He's like, we're getting to where we just can't deny it. We just see how people who have this trauma, have this fear stored in their body are getting sick in very predictable ways. The decision to wake is the reflection of the will to love, since all healing involves replacing fear with love. That is so beautiful. Can we apply this to all forms of health? All healing involves replacing fear with love. You know what? What have we got to lose? Worst case scenario, we've replaced all of our fear with love. And we're going to feel better, even if we're going to emotionally feel better, even if we don't physically feel better. But according to the text, we'll physically feel better too. In fact, the Course primarily is speaking in a spiritual nature, because there are people who are wonderful, beautiful, blessed people who might have a apparent physical disability. And I don't believe that the Course is saying that that's wrong or bad. In fact, accepting what is and loving what is the way out. However, we can know for certain that if we've replaced fear with love, then whatever remains is love and is part of our curriculum, and we can embrace it. But if we are sick and unwell in any way, shape, or form, because we are still identified with ego, still hostage to ego, hostage to fear, then we have no way of knowing if we're in our highest state. I guess what I'm trying to say here is there is no downside on a practical level. There is no downside to replacing all fear with love and seeing what miracles unfold, even in the 3D physical world. And for sure in our hearts and minds, in the way we feel, the way we wake up, joyously or dispiritedly. It's interesting it uses the word dispiritedly, because the whole Course is telling us to receive the Spirit, to be taught by the Spirit, and dispiritedly means no spirit. Completely hostage to fear and ego. I'm going to sit with that. I needed to hear this. Thank you so much for being here. I love you so much. I wish I was the best teacher in the world. That's what you deserve. But I hope my small efforts help in some small way. I love you.